OSINT and OPSEC, open source intelligence and operational security, respectively. These two concepts are arguably more important to me and you in our digital presence now than ever before. After all, your data is like gold dust to those big corpos, and they want to suck you dry of all of your money, data, and sanity. Whilst AFK life and digital life may cross over, this video focuses largely on digital OPSEC and OSINT for simplicity. The two concepts of open source intelligence and operational security are of course distinct from one another, but that does not mean they do not affect one another. That couldn't be further from the truth, as they both most definitely go hand in hand with one another. So let's get into a quick overview of what each of them are, how they are employed by different kinds of organisations, and how you can use that against them to keep yourself secure. This isn't about becoming invisible, but how to become the digital grey man, how to blend in. Because chances are, if you're wanting to live a pretty normal life, it would be difficult to go full-on Ted Kaczynski. So we have to be practical about it. Open source intelligence is pretty much the information that you give out to the world for free. The name on your Facebook profile, the geolocation of where you live via your posts on Instagram, subscribing to some mail list for a free one-off delivery of cat food. OSINT, as it is known, is information that is gathered, collected and surmised as being actionable intelligence by the individual or organisation conducting the research, aka info that is useful. Operational security is a little different but part of the same ballgame, and in this setting, being your digital operational security, OPSEC can be described as being the security measures taken by someone like yourself or an organisation to protect, anonymise or otherwise hide important information from those who probably shouldn't be able to get their hands on it. It's a lot more complex than that for sure, but anything that goes to further the goal of keeping yourself and your data safe could be considered as part of your operational security measures. The first thing that your average NPC might not understand is that OSINT isn't just something that the police, dark web schemers or state actors employ. It's something that you yourself have probably utilised at some point in your life multiple times. For example, someone you know on Snapchat's just posted a story about their quote spiritual findings in some tourist place in Southeast Asia with a nice beach in the background. If you were to say screenshot that bad boy and paste it into Google image reverse search, boom. That's an example of open source intelligence gathering. As well as that slightly dodgy scenario, corporations can use open source intelligence for marketing. Cross-site tracking with third-party cookies can all be used to gather data from you to begin building a profile of your online and consequently your offline behaviour. A single data point isn't all that useful to anyone, but where these large corporations get their power is from the sheer amount of data that they're able to squeeze out of you without you really consenting or knowing about it. Combine that with your social media photo history, the times you log in and out of your profiles, public friend lists, you can see where the problem begins to form. Either willingly or unwittingly, you've given out more information about yourself, those around you and consequently your routines than you probably bargained for. And whilst it may take a special kind of nutter or state actor to pair most of these together, if someone for whatever reason wants to do that, they probably can. And that's not even too high of a bar these days. An increasingly common occasion now is Western governments taking a special look into those they deem to be a little too extreme. And no matter what side of the political aisle you decide to plonk yourself into, governments can change, and the power you might want your government to have at one point will most definitely be misused at some point later on down the line. Data doesn't care if you're boring, it just exists, and when enough of it is stitched together, you become a living, breathing dataset ripe for the picking. But what about those sketchy internet bandits, constantly sending you emails about your inheritance of 3 million Iranian reals as long as you provide them with your card number and those pesky numbers on the back? Well, open source intelligence is where the scammer type of person can make bank. Those who do not spend every waking moment on their computer are especially vulnerable. For example, maybe they make a post on Boomerbook, with their username being their actual name of course, about something random but personal. Next thing you know, your new uncle Abdullah Isman Mohammed is calling you to let you know that you've got a virus and you need to download the new Windows update by clicking this link. And because this dodgy new uncle of yours refers to you as your name, with maybe a reference to the location you live, you're all the more likely to believe them, because you think this is confidential information, or at least info that only those close to you would know. But of course, utilising OSINT, it couldn't be further from the truth. Your operational security can be the difference between someone making a fool of themselves within the trash section of your email client, or someone gaining access to information you'd rather not have out, being at the mercy of malicious actors, software, big corporations, or the glowies. Of course, with the latter, you'd probably have to go full Kaczynski if you wanted to remain as secure as possible against them, but let's not try and paint a target that big on your back. No spicy mail, please. The general OPSEC rules of course apply here. Let's not forget that OPSEC is pretty much any measure you take to ensure the integrity, confidentiality and or security of your data, like ensuring you change your password regularly, harden your browser, disable cookies and or JavaScript depending on your specific threat level that you're trying to protect yourself from. Maybe you even decide to resort to an old ThinkPad with an open source bootloader and a bespoke BSD based system that you compiled yourself. Whatever it is, one of the ways I've ensured my own OPSEC is by looking at how other people have gotten yoinked and speloinked. Maybe their data was stolen, their accounts got hacked, or they got by crims or government glowies. 9.5 times out of 10, they did something stupid. They left their computer unlocked, they used the same password on a compromised site or computer, etc. It's rarely the software they use that is compromised, provided that they're using a well-established piece of software, but even a well-maintained codebase can sometimes be subject to a little trolling. And to bring us back to the point of the feds trying to exploit holes in your OPSEC, if you paint a target big enough on your back, it's only a matter of time before they get you. Criminals and organisations can only go so far, but governments, they can go as far as they see fit. It's a guarantee that the relevant government agencies have a plethora of zero-day vulnerabilities for many of the most popular pieces of software lined up, just in case they need to use them. So, to really keep yourself secure, don't let yourself, whatever the hell you're up to, become visible on the Fed radar. You've got to be up to no good or be doing something they really don't like to make it on there, but just keep that in mind, because it's game over if you do indeed make it on their metaphorical radar. Before we end today's video, I want to show you this really interesting website. Now, the URL for this website is osintframework.com, and essentially it's a directory for anything and everything to do with open source intelligence. So as soon as you go to the website, you're brought to this menu, and if you click on the circle, it brings you to all of these different directories, anything from email addresses, domain names, mobile emulation, dark web stuff, everything you can think of to do with open source intelligence and operational security. Now, what this website presents is essentially the different resources that you can use in order to conduct open source intelligence or just do general research. And I think this is a really cool website because you can go on different things like username and it will tell you specific sites that you can use, and each of these is a link to a website. Now, from what I've managed to find so far, they're all really up to date. It does come up with links to different dark web search engines. However, some of them that link to the Onion address actually use, if you look in the bottom right corner, in the bottom left corner, they actually use the V2 Onion address, which has been depreciated for a number of years now. But other than that, it's all really up to date and really interesting. It's even got a list of dating sites, feeling a little spicy. When interacting with people or sites on the internet, or indeed pieces of software, it's always best to keep these ideas in mind. The idea of open source intelligence and operational security are vitally important if you are to ensure your own security, as well as the security, integrity and confidentiality of those around you, as well as your own digital gold, your data. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video or found it useful. There's a link in the description to a rather interesting, albeit a little outdated site that I think you may enjoy looking into if you enjoy this kind of stuff. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, like the video if you did, and I hope to see you in my next video.